Jay here from Stretford, Paddock, and this is the one-on-one interview. And joining me today is a very special guest. We've got Geert Langendorff, who's a leading Dutch football expert. He's going to be telling us a little bit about some bloke called Erik ten Hag and also Frenkie de Jong. Geert, thanks for coming back on the channel.
Thank you. I'm, of course, glad to be here.
Yeah, it's always great chatting to you. I think last time we spoke to you, it was about Donny van der Beek. It was just before he signed, I think, a couple of years ago. So it's great to have you back on. We'll just get into Erik ten Hag. Obviously, he started as Manchester United manager. What do you think he's going to bring to that role as the new United manager?
Well, of course, you must have watched his unveiling at Old Trafford. And it was more or less kind of a glimpse into, his mindset and his world. And no thrills, quite basic, no flowery words. And all he wants to do is just get on with it, talk about football, and make sure that United will become a footballing giant again. And he will definitely be doing that with the help of his two assistants, including McLaren, and they'll be telling him the ropes of how the club works, and he'll be scouting non-stop. And I believe Man United will be start training again on I think on the 27th of June, or at least the players that do not get an extra holiday or any other commitments. From then, the really hard work will start. He will start to drill him, work him, and try to instill his philosophy, which is very much energy based, but you also have to work very much for each other. So it can't be an out and out star such as Cristiano Ronaldo. Everyone has to work and fight together. With that in mind, he'll just hope for the players to enjoy themselves on the pitch again, because that was at Ajax one of the things that made him tick. Football, as Matt Busby used to teach, is for the entertainment of the people, and that's very much one of his beliefs as well. So I think that in short is what you can expect in the short term.
How successful do you think he can be at United? How successful do you think he will be at Manchester United?
Well, give him time. Let's say 3 months or so. You should be able to see the framework of what he wants to do, and the players should be able by then to do exactly how he wants them to play. If that all works, if he gets the players he needs, and the players that are here now will be able to fit into the team better than they were under Rangnick and Solskjaer, I think he can be quite successful in his first year. I'm definitely not counting on a title race, with the likes of Liverpool and Man City, but a Champions League spot should definitely be on the cards again, as United always should be fighting for. But slowly but steadily, he will win the fans for him. Obviously, they're very excited now, but as you saw during his unveiling, he's not as charismatic and entertaining for the media as Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, or even David Moyes were. So he'll find his way, but it'll take a little bit of time. So just give him a break for about 3 months, and then judge him on what's happening on the pitch. And I have no doubt it will look quite interesting and exciting for fans.
Yeah, no, I think you make a great point. We do have to be patient as Manchester United fans, as you mentioned, especially when you look at where our rivals are in terms of Liverpool and City. They're so far ahead at the minute, pains me to say. Obviously, Ajax is a massive club. There's no denying that, but it is a step up coming to a club like Manchester United with the expectation and the scrutiny. Do you think he'll be able to cope with that?
Well, that's a big question. That's why I think it was a very good thing for him to appoint Steve McLaren as his number one or number two, because he obviously needs to figure out what United is all about. His upbringing is quite similar to what Manchester United and Manchester itself is based on. Working class, textile area, used to cycling to school and football in the rain. So he's very used to bad weather, and very down to earth. and where he's from, up east, trying to be an arrogant guy from Amsterdam is frowned upon. You always have to show that you're one of the guys that you're willing to graft. So in that sense, I have no doubt he'll find it quite easy to fit into the Man United culture. But as you mentioned, the Premier League, Manchester United are a different ballgame. He'll have to take that in his stride, and I have no doubt he can manage. Because it took him about, I'd say, 4 to 5 months at Ajax before he finally got used to the grandeur of the club. Because suddenly, from being hardly scrutinised, he was scrutinised non-stop, and he was finding that very difficult at first. Struggling with the media a little bit. The fans didn't really like him because of that, because he was always a bit short. Came across as friendly, but slightly as a deer in headlights. But now, look at him now at Ajax. He was very comfortable in his own skin, and he was clearly a big manager by then. So, bearing that in mind, I have a feeling that he will be able to kind of achieve the same as Man United. And like I said, from where he was brought up, he will know his shortcomings and definitely work on them.
Good stuff. What's you touched on it earlier about his sort of philosophy. What style of football do you think Manchester United fans can expect?
Obviously, he likes to play preferably a 4-3-3. So quite attacking with one defensive midfielder, 2 attacking midfielders right in front of it, 2 wingers and a striker. Is that possible in the Premier League? Given the strength of the other teams, this is not the Eredivisie where it's basically a 2-horse race with PSV Eindhoven. So he could easily switch back to a 5-2-3-1 as well, which he played at Ajax as well, particularly in the Champions League. And he could use kind of the core of the players he already has. Maybe a fullback here and there. One holding midfielder who is particularly good at receiving the ball and going forward with it. Think of Frenkie de Jong, for example, and up front, given the fact that he's willing to keep Cristiano Ronaldo on board because he's so good at scoring goals. Wingers who are willing to put in a shift, but very attacking football. So Rashford is definitely on the cards to become a starter again, like he used to be before, even though he had a bit of a dip in form last season. And Jadon Sancho, and we haven't seen it at United yet, but what he showed in Germany and for England as well, he seems to be more or less the perfect fit for the way Erik would like to play. Quick, fast, lots of pressing, kind of what we are used to seeing from United. From Liverpool and City, but then in a slightly more controlled way, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Erik ten Hag can get the best out of the likes, like you said, Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho as well, because we know what they're capable of. You mentioned there Frenkie de Jong. Obviously, United have been heavily linked with the Barcelona midfielder. Do you think that deal can happen? Do you expect him to join Manchester United this summer?
It's all a bit up in the air because it all depends on Barcelona. They potentially would like to keep him, but in order to strengthen the team, they need to sell players, given their massive debt and restrictions given to them by La Liga. Frenkie de Jong himself has said that Barcelona is still his favourite club, his club of choice. But after playing for the Netherlands against Belgium and the Beek, quite nice, I believe it was 4-0 or 4-1. He was asked about his role for the Netherlands, where he plays as a 6, his preferred role, and he said he absolutely loved it. That he finally felt like it clicked again for him as a player. That he enjoyed his football better than at Barcelona, not necessarily the club, but the football. Louis van Gaal kind of said it afterwards as well. I put him where I think he'll play best, and that is exactly what Erik ten Hag could offer him as well. And now tell him like, hey, you've seen how well you've played for the Netherlands. That's exactly how I want to use you at United. I'm not going to put you either on the left hand side or the right hand side of a 4-2-3-1, but at one of the pivots, one of the sixes, or maybe we're feeling confident one. The only six. He's very good at the ball at his feet, and hopefully that will convince him to make the decision. But he's obviously very cagey about it. He can't say much about it, but you could sense that both parties are getting closer and closer to each other. And even though Van Gaal is not a fan of Man United anymore, given that he will definitely tell him, like, if you want to keep your place for the World Cup, for him, he's so good that that will not be a problem. But he'll definitely give him advice: go and play where they will use your strength. And for him, that is playing at number 6. And at Barcelona, that is kind of impossible given Xavi's preference to Busquets, who was still seen as their star holding midfielder. So chances, don't know. It's difficult to say. It'll be about, right now, I think about 70%.
70%. Okay, we'll take that. You mentioned there about him playing in a 6, and that is a role that we desperately need filling at Manchester United. We haven't had that type of player. We've been using Fred or McTominay pretty much out of position. Nemanja Matic, of course, is leaving. So do you see that as a role he can fulfill then in that sort of number 6 role for Manchester United?
Yeah, most definitely. Particularly with McTominay. McTominay is a workhorse. He's tall, he's strong, and he can basically pick up the pieces. When Frenkie de Jong decides to go up front, move the ball up front, and Fred, slightly shorter, and not as physical, and perhaps not the player that Erik ten Hag would prefer. McTominay is still young, and he's clearly a massive talent. He was definitely on an upward trajectory. Before Ranieri came, kind of stalled. Like most of the players at United. But for me, that would be the ideal duo for Ten Hag, and I think he sees it as well.
Last time you were on the channel, or one of the first times you were on the channel, you spoke about Donny van de Beek. There's been reports that he could be back in the team, back in the Manchester United team under Erik ten Hag. Do you think he's going to get more of a chance now that his old manager's coming back into the United squad, or taking over at United, I should say?
Yeah, definitely. Because Erik ten Hag is a massive fan of Donny van de Beek. He more or less turned him into a high-profile midfield player, using him in his strength, more or less, exactly the way Frenkie de Jong came up at Ajax. So he basically knows what he's good at, and he was never used in his preferred role, neither by Solskjaer and Ranieri. So he didn't stand a chance. So I'm pretty sure that with a bit of confidence that Ten Hag can definitely give him, he might be able to turn into a squad player who could change the game, in the second half, or perhaps if he turns out to be physically strong enough, something he clearly lacked in previous seasons, to actually make a difference as a starter. But obviously, it all depends on what the summer will bring. If they manage to get a slightly a more mature midfielder, who doesn't need to get used to the style of play in the Premier League, things might get difficult for him. But I'm sure he will be given a proper chance. And given the budget from Ten Hag has been given, I think around about, as reported, £120 million, it would be ideal for him to give it another go. And at Ajax, he was outstanding, and Real Madrid came knocking for a reason. So I'd say, yeah.
Do you think he can get the best out of Donny as well because of the relationship they've got? Because we've seen it in glimpses, but we haven't really seen the Donny van de Beek that we saw at Ajax at Manchester United so far. Do you think Erik ten Hag could get the best out of him?
Yeah, I think so. Also because he knows him very well, and Ten Hag is known to be not only a disciplinarian, but also someone who takes a special interest into the personalities of players. So he definitely knows him very well. Personally, he knows everything about his family situation. He knows everything about the person and how he ticks, and that should be able to give him the confidence to reach the highs that he hasn't reached so far at Man United. So yeah, no doubt. And Donny van der Beek is a very calm-natured footballer, so he'll be very happy that that Ten Hag will be there, and then he can finally show what he's worth, and knows that if he shows enough on the training pitch, that he will definitely get a chance. Something that clearly lacked under the stewardship of Solskjaer and Ranjit.
Yeah, it definitely did. It'll be good to see what happens with Donny van der Beek under Erik ten Hag. Just finally, I just wanted to ask you a question about Jurrien Timber. We've been linked with him quite a lot, and there's rumours that maybe there's going to be a bid made for him. That Erik ten Hag's a big fan. Obviously, he knows him well. Do you think that Timber has got what it takes to put it in the Premier League?
Well, Gullit said something about him. He said he wasn't quite sure. Like quite possibly referring to his height. He's 5'10", which is relatively small for a centre half. But then again, he's only 20 years old. He was voted best academy player of the year or young player of the year last season, whilst playing for the first team. He played under Louis van Gaal last weekend against Belgium. Played very, very well. And just shows the calmness, the sharpness to take on that role, despite his height disadvantage. And he can jump, and his positional play is absolutely excellent. On top of that, he can also play as a right fullback. So if Ten Hag wants to give him time to get used to playing at Premier League level, it might be very well possible to ease in him as a fullback. But given his progress, his positional play, and against Belgium, even though Kevin De Bruyne said he wasn't too motivated for the Nation League matches, he completely played him out of the match. And for me, that says enough, more or less, about his progress. He can definitely click on. So I'd say yes, but obviously he would need a defender like Varane right next to him, who's slightly taller, maybe slightly more physical.
Sounds good. It's one to keep an eye on. Geert, it's always a pleasure chatting to you. Thanks for coming on the channel, and we look forward to chatting to you again, hopefully in the season when Erik ten Hag gets that patience and hopefully, fingers crossed, can take Manchester United back to where we should be.
Likewise.
So big thanks to Dutch football expert Geert Langendorff. Lots of things to be positive about there, though he did say the P word, patience. We need to be patient. We keep hearing that, don't we, with Erik ten Hag, and I think a lot of us will agree with that. We need to show him a little bit of time and patience. But he was saying there, take him a few months to get his sort of philosophy, again, another dreaded word there, implemented into the Manchester United squad. But we'll see what happens. As always, we'll keep you updated on any developments with the signings we spoke about, Frenkie de Jong, Jurrien Timber, or anything else. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel. Don't forget as well to hit that like button. I've been Jay Motti. This has been a one-on-one interview with Dutch football expert Geert Langendorff. Thanks for watching.